A new year and a brand new look and feel about the Premier League table this season. Well, who would have thought this a few months ago? Manchester United going to the brand new year 2019 at the top of the table here at the wet Newcastle today to take on Newcastle United. But who would have thought this? After the first 12 or 13 games, Manchester City were looking unbeatable at the top. All of a sudden they have slipped to fourth, and Manchester United's form has skyrocketed to enter the top of the table with Everton and Burnley on their heels. What a very unusual table we could have by the end of May. It is quite the prospect for the neutrals that almost anyone could win this league, even someone you wouldn't have expected to do so. We already have had one in recent history with the victory of Leicester City, of course. But Newcastle United's lineup today: Diviosa is in goal, Yedlin's with Shika, Lingerie and Dummett. And Richie is with Alvor, John Joe Shelby and Kennedy. John Joe Shelby will look for an easier time today than he did at Old Trafford, reaction-wise. And Alfonso Perez plays behind Sambodia up top. You saw Gregg Popovich's lineup this morning. You know what it is. Joel Pereira plays in goal. Twanzebe is with Bailly and Chris Smalling. Three-man defence today. It's Fred with Gomez, Herrera, Zardes, and a debut for youngster Cameron Ward on the right wing. Alexander Isak is with Joshua Boy up top. And the whole reason for this entire lineup and the shuffle of the deck today is going to be round 2 at the biggest match in the English game in the FA Cup third round, where Liverpool will take on Manchester United once again. So the transfer window is open. Everyone's looking at Gregg Popovich to see what he will do to the side. He obviously has the injury to Luke Shaw to contend with. I think early reports are he's not going to buy a left back to replace him. Obviously Luke Shaw out for the rest of the season probably. Doctor's saying he could be back for the end of the season, but I think every intention is that Popovich is not going to rush him back in any which way. So what will he do? Defence is still the weakest position for Manchester United. With the loss of Luke Shaw, it does kind of weaken them a little bit. Of course, Cameron Borthwick-Jackson has had a superb season, but obviously you can't use him every game. Boy is waiting for the run of Angel Gomez. He's picked him out with a second attempt, and it's a good save by the keeper. Gomez just could not get the shot away in time. You have to feel that if Gregg Popovich does lose this match, he will not really worry about it. I think this is the most passive we've seen Manchester United all season, but energy saved for Liverpool. You have to love Gregg's prioritising of matches as a Manchester United head coach. Oh, it's a beautiful ball from Cameron Ward though. And Isak, who's had a very tough time at United so far. Zardes. In. Bailly, brilliant defending again, and Twanzebe heads away again. Oh, Isak. Oh, and that could reach Buai, and it does. Joshua Buai. What a ball by Isak. And that is probably his best moment in a Manchester United shirt, because he's had a tough one. Buai, not the best of shots, but it is out for a corner. I think this is Manchester United's first real attack of the game so far. Fred's going to take it. It's out to Twanzebe. And it's straight at the keeper. Well, he's closed in. Tries to go for a ball over the top. Cameron Ward goes down. And that is the end of the first half. It's not been the most entertaining game, but Manchester United and Gregg Popovich will take the point, considering the squad today. Their focus and their emphasis is on Liverpool. And Joel Pereira, aside from that, has not really had a lot to do. Newcastle have made it easy for him. So in a game where Newcastle you'd think would take advantage, they actually haven't. It has been great defending by the likes of Axel Twanzebe and Bailly as well. Newcastle United 0, Manchester United 0. And it's away. Dummett has gathered it. Manchester United have been superb to a degree. They've weathered the storm well so far, but hold the phone. Here's Kennedy. One more. Dummett with the cross, and Muto has scored the substitute. And there we go again. Every time we seem to praise Manchester United for something, that happens every single time. But whatever the case, Gregg will not be too bothered by this. It's a great cross for Dummett, to be fair, and maybe there's a hint of offside against Muto, to be honest. I think it's Zardes there who probably plays him on. Joe Pierre probably should get that, to be honest. We have praised him a lot this season, but I don't think he really covered himself in glory there. It's a save he should be capable of making, more than capable. And it's a pretty soft goal to concede for Manchester United. And they are one down. Newcastle, this is a game they could probably take advantage of and gain some points over a team that's more focused on the FA Cup win. But is he prioritising the wrong game, perhaps? Well, Newcastle have the lead by a goal to nil, but we know how Manchester United can always respond. Double substitution by Gregg Popovich. It's the two strikers, Buai and Isak, making way for Alex Hunter and Danny Williams. No surprises by Gregg Popovich there. I think he wants a goal now. And Buai and Isak, they're just not providing it for Popovich this season. In the same way that the others are. Newcastle United on the eve of a well-earned win, if not totally deserved, because it's not been such a great game of football. Alex Hunter! It's in! It's a mess! But Alex Hunter runs to celebrate! And Manchester United saved a point of a death, literally. Oh my goodness me, that is the courage and determination of this Manchester United side. Look at the defending of Newcastle, the space Alex Hunter had to cut in. He had all the time in the world. It's taken a lucky deflection, the keeper's unlucky. Oh, and Newcastle United, who defended valiantly in the last 10 minutes of the game. It's so unfortunate. It's a scrappy goal, but it does go to Alex Hunter. His 6th goal of the season. And Hunter is the saviour for Manchester United once again. And they've drawn level, and that's the end of the game. Manchester United didn't look like really getting a point in the first 18 minutes, but then Hunter and Williams completely changed the game. And that is why you never write Manchester United off. It's not been the most entertaining game of football, but Newcastle will feel a bit hard done by with 2 points dropped. But it's that man, isn't it? The career of Alex Hunter. It could be full of things like that, if we are to believe his family legacy, of course. And I think a point is a fair result based on the game. Newcastle will feel a bit hard done by, but Manchester United saving points and games at the death, as they always used to do. Gregg Popovich has brought that back as well, don't forget. Newcastle United won, Manchester United won. Points shared, and that'll be exactly what Gregg Popovich wanted, considering the next matchup, we remind you, is the biggest matchup in the English game, the second round between the two, and the third round of the FA Cup at Anfield. Alright, so let's cover all of the New Year games and see what that means for the Premier League table. And as you can see, it's kind of unusual again. What a season we're having. Well, let's start at the Emirates with Arsenal and Fulham. It wasn't the most entertaining game. It was a 0-0 draw. Cardiff City lost to Spurs by 3-1, and Chelsea seem to be making a late push towards the title, don't they? They've won 2-1 against Southampton, and now, as you can see, sit in third place, just 4 points behind Manchester United. Everton, to that scene, actually lost to Leicester by 2-1 today, so that point that Gregg Popovich earned was vital, right? In the final seconds, they took the initiative and earned the point that puts them top of the table. Huddersfield beating Burnley by 1-0, and Wolves beating Crystal Palace by 2-1. Brighton beating West Ham by 3-0, quite convincingly. Bournemouth lost to Watford by 2-1, and it's just falling apart for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City now. They've lost once again. We can't believe we're saying this. They've gone from like a 12-13 game winning streak to an awesome losing streak for the rest of the league, that is. 2-1 against Liverpool later in the New Year fixtures by 2-1. And that will be the end of the matches there before the and then obviously we've got the 12th, and that will follow the FA Cup. So, Manchester United top the league by a point now, thanks to Everton's loss at Leicester City and that vital equaliser in the final seconds by Alex Hunter. As we said, Chelsea seem to be flying up the table, and now they're in third place and genuine contenders in Mauricio Sarri's first season. Spurs go to fourth with recent results going their way as well, with Burnley now down to fifth, but still ahead of Manchester City on goal difference. West Ham having a superb season under Manuel Pellegrini. Despite their loss today, they are still in seventh. And as you saw there, my controller ran out of battery, so I just had to get the other one. So we'll continue with the table. Arsenal's sitting 8th with a nice point against Fulham today, and they look to have consolidated that position. But Leicester's win against Everton has put them up into 9th, ahead of Wolves in the top 10. Liverpool, vital win over Manchester City, puts them back on the eve of top 10. But by all accounts, they should be much higher than where they are at the moment. Southampton in 12th place, Bournemouth 13th with Brighton, Crystal Palace, Watford and Newcastle completing the safe positions, as it were. Huddersfield's win against Burnley has shot them to within 2 points of safety. Fulham and Cardiff are still rooted to the bottom. It's 9 points between Cardiff City and Newcastle United. But Newcastle United could, and probably should, have got a few more points today. Such a highly anticipated rematch with everything on the line. It's round 2, Liverpool versus Manchester United in the third round of the FA Cup. Coming up live next. Welcome to Anfield and welcome to the FA Cup. For the first time this season, the Premier League clubs are in town, and we have a Premier League matchup to bring to you this afternoon, and it is the highly anticipated rematch of Liverpool versus Manchester United. And we all remember what happened at Anfield a few months ago when Gregg Popovich's team were utterly dominant against this Liverpool side, who eventually won by 4-0. And Gregg Popovich is on a real roll this season as his team starts to gain momentum. Sadio Mane and Wilfried Zaha definitely two of the players to watch today. But I think everybody in this Manchester United side is probably a player to watch today, because it seems to be that no matter who is on the pitch for Manchester United, the impressive will always happen. And Jurgen Klopp, well, he's got to get one up on Gregg Popovich today, because the whole farce of the previous matchup between these two, where Manchester United were utterly dominant, it was a farce in the eyes of Liverpool fans, to the point where they even booed their own team. It was such a poor performance that the fans really just laid into them during the match. Alisson's in goal with Sergio Roberto, Lovren, Van Dijk and Robertson in the defence there, my apologies. Firmino is in the midfield with Wijnaldum and James Milner. Mohamed Salah is with Sadio Mane, and it is the false 9, Roberto Firmino. Gregg Popovich going with the styled 5-3-2. David De Gea in goal with Fuzu, Mensah, Lindelof, Maguire, Borthwick, Jackson today. That's a 4, my apologies. It's a 3 in the midfield with Henry, Sanchez and Pogba. Herrera with Zaha and Anthony Martial are the 3 up front. And but that is not the real focus of today. This is the pinnacle of cup competition here in England, of course, as Everton have taken the lead early on there. And Swansea have taken the lead against Arsenal. Olsen has scored in that one. And not a great start for Unai Emery's side, who've had a pretty up and down season by all accounts, and they could be heading for the exit door of the FA Cup relatively early. And that would be a real shame. Sadio Mane and Fosu Mensah, brilliant as always. Fosu Mensah has definitely been the player of the season for Manchester United when you take the goal scorers out of the account. And it's finally great to see Fosu Mensah and Borthwick Jackson and Chong getting some game time. Blackpool and Cardiff, it's a classic going on. We've had 17 minutes played there and it's already 1-1. It's a great ball by Pogba, but Martial is offside. Saha, my apologies, not Pogba, but oh, that's close. Obviously, the VAR will possibly come into play this afternoon. Liverpool are down outside the top 10. Jurgen Klopp has definitely not had a great season as far as the league is concerned. Robertson, in comes Salah. We can see what Liverpool were trying to do there. And Salah, well, he tries to head it towards the goal. He ends up hitting the side netting. And I think the thing with Gregg Popovich's team is they're forcing themselves to work very hard sometimes. Oh, ball for Jackson. That was tremendous. Henwood saw the danger and turned around it. And speaking of Aaron Henwood, his home team of Plymouth have conceded against Brighton. But Plymouth there taking the lead early on. Brighton have brought it back. That's going to go up for a corner. Like we were saying, the previous matchup was dominated between David De Gea and Alisson, and you have to say on the day, David De Gea had very little to do. Wickham have taken the lead against Mauricio Sarri's Chelsea. You could be having a look at a scout there. Wickham Wanderers have taken the lead, and Chelsea are in trouble. Zaha, Pogba. Here's Alexis Sanchez. Oh, he almost put it in. Alisson was seeing stars on that one. And Sanchez, hugely unlucky. And Salah and Robertson's going to be most alert. Salah's going to get it back. Wonderfully nipped in by Bulford Jackson. Again, he's just tremendous. You have to feel that Bulford Jackson and Fosu Mensah, they're more than ready to take the mantra from Manchester United in their future. Here's Paul Pogba for a great pass. Good save from Alisson. Corner. That was a beautiful move. I think it all started by Aaron Henwood in his great passing again. Alisson with a fantastic save. Absolutely brilliant. Often is he at the races? Yes, he is. And he's beaten his man for pace. Sadio Mane with all the pitch to run at. What is he going to do? And up off the bar by Firmino, and Bulford Jackson just going to get clear. And Manchester United had absolutely no answer for Sadio Mane once he got the ball off the corner. But Liverpool inches from taking a very surprise lead, probably a little bit against the run of play. Wide. Oh, Bulford Jackson, brilliant. And we was going to shoot. And it's straight at the goalkeeper. And Liverpool have been much more in this first half, much better than they were in the previous matchup. It has been a rather even one this time around. But Sadio Mane had all the pitch to run it off the corner. He put it into Firmino and he hit the bar. And that's the closest we got to a goal. Liverpool much more into this time. 0-0 at the break in the third round of the FA Cup. But his squad rotation is really a thing that is really shining through. And it's giving a lot of youngsters a chance. Oh, and a great goal. And that's Mo Salah. No surprise. And finally Liverpool get a surprise reprieve here. And that came out of nowhere. What a strike by Salah. Oh, Mo Salah, he's just brilliant, isn't he? And Liverpool finally gets something good against Manchester United. And it's unfortunate really because Fosu Mensah, I think he does brilliantly. The ball falls to Salah and he just strikes it. And there's nothing David De Gea and Bulford Jackson can do about that. That is a phenomenal goal. It's probably a little bit against the run of play, but Jurgen Klopp will take it, considering the previous matchup. And Manchester United, former holders of this competition, are behind by a goal to nil, and it's a brilliant one from the ever-brilliant Mo Salah. Liverpool 1, United 0. Having a pretty even first half, and I think that goal had been coming. And that's a foul. The referee finally pulls stop play, and Robertson's probably going to go into the book. Certainly is. Andrew Robinson's one of those Liverpool youngsters that has been rising through the ranks. We talk a lot about Gregg Popovich and his youth policies that he has. You have to say Jurgen Klopp is doing the same thing, but Robinson probably had mist descend over his eyes there, and he goes into the book for it. And Gregg Popovich has been very adamant about that. He's been saying in recent weeks that, you know, we may concede goals, but you got to give the teams credit. Oh my word! Spurs 4, Norwich City 0, and Son is continuing the route at the new Spurs Stadium. And well, we're not there yet. They're still at Wembley, obviously, but yeah, it's a route down there as Norwich continue to be battered on that one. Liverpool will take on Brighton in the return to the Premier League after a bit of a break. And you have to say the Gregg Popovich's team probably need it. They've been having constant games, but they've pulled through this period and now have a real chance of maybe taking a trophy home at the end of the season, but it won't be the FA Cup at the moment. Oh, Sanchez! Brilliant! Brilliant goal from Sanchez! Oh, we're getting some rockets here today. Oh, that is such a strike by Alexis Sanchez. The man who's just thriving under Gregg Popovich at the moment. He's becoming an inspired signing after having a player swap policy with Mkhitaryan. He has no right to shoot. Oh, it's wonderful. From absolutely nothing. No right to shoot. No right to score from there. Does it take a deflection? I'm not sure. I think it might. But it doesn't matter how they go in as long as they do. And Gregg Popovich, well, that's just the mantra of Manchester United, isn't it? Always play to the final whistle. But I don't think Sanchez had any right to shoot and score from there, and he did. The goals here have been brilliant. It's 1-1 now. And here come Alex Hunter and Marcus Rashford for Manchester United. And it's going to be Andreas Pereira who's coming off for and Aaron Hemwood going off for Hunter and Rashford. So it looks like Hunter will go where Pereira is. And Rashford will probably play behind the two strikers. Interesting. So he still has faith in Martial, Gregg Popovich. That's good defending by Wilfred Jackson. As obviously he's faced questions from the likes of Jamie Carragher whether he can be the number 10 in the Manchester United's future. I have to say that's a resounding yes. Martial! Oh, it's another belter. 2-1 to United. And Martial has given them the lead. And there's no surprise there. And we were just talking about how Marcus Rashford has changed the game. Now Martial has too much space. Bad defending from Liverpool. And Martial, he finds the pocket and puts it in. And with the form that Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford have been showing over the last season, plus you cannot give Martial that kind of opportunity. He will bury those all day, and he's done so once again. And Manchester United have come from behind and have taken the lead because that is what they do. Liverpool have been overturned here as Liverpool 1, United 2 with 7 minutes plus to go. Moving here from Liverpool. Here's Firmino. A bit out of his element down there. Missing with the cross. Headed away by, I think it was Fosu Mensah. Saha. Martial to Alexis Sanchez. And in behind them is Rashford. Oh, it's beautiful. What a beautiful goal. And Marcus Rashford has done it again. Well, where did Rashford come from here? Look at this passing. Oh my God, it's tremendous. Oh my goodness. What a goal by Marcus Rashford. Oh my goodness me. How did that pass get off? It was almost telepathic what United did there. And it's another goal for Marcus Rashford to seal the day for Manchester United. And, well, he's brilliant. And it makes you say, OMG, doesn't it? Oh, my goodness, what a goal by United. 3-1 to them now. And now they're totally dominant. But again, it's just another abundance of goals from Gregg Popovich's side. That have been absolutely great so far. This season could be the season of Coach Pop. And I don't think anyone would complain, because he has certainly been a fan favourite in this Premier League over the last season that he took over. He's quickly established himself as one of the favourite coaches of the league. And for Manchester United fans, well, it's after a bit of a barren time under the likes of Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho, the name Gregg Popovich could be in the same legacy talk as Sir Alex Ferguson. Yes, it's a bit far off on that one, but this season United have been showing the attacking that they used to do under him, and he may not be here for as long, but Gregg Popovich will certainly leave an impact on this Manchester United side when he eventually steps down. We still don't know when that'll be. He's still going to be here next season. After that, we don't know, but Manchester United fans will be hopeful that maybe they can keep him on for a little bit longer, because if results going like this, who would want him not to stay? Liverpool 1, Manchester United 3, and they progressed to round 4 at the FA Cup in quite brilliant style once again. With round 3 scores from today, Blackburn have beaten Portsmouth by 2-1, while Spurs, well, they just delivered an absolute thumping to Norwich, beating them by 5-0. Everton also beat Fulham by 3-1. Blackpool and Cardiff held each other to a draw, 2-2 draw, meaning a replay at a later date. Leicester City beat Championship side Ipswich, so no real surprises there. Liverpool and Manchester United, obviously we watched live, 3-1 win to United. Preston lost to Queen's Park Rangers by 2-1. Wickham, on the eve of a big scalp, were pegged back by Chelsea, meaning a replay at Stamford Bridge after a 1-1 draw. Oxford United and West Brom played to a 2-1 win to the Albion. Southampton beating Bristol City by 1-0. Sunderland and Shrewsbury will have a replay there after a 2-2 draw. Crewe lost to Premier League side Crystal Palace by 2-1, and Nottingham Forest beat Burton by 3-0. Burnley and Gillingham played to a 2-1 win, no surprises there. Middlesbrough beating Peterborough by the same scoreline. Brentford beating Morecambe by 1-0. Bournemouth are eliminated after a 2-0 loss against Newcastle United. Wolves beating Fleetwood Town by 4-0. An impressive season for Wolves continues. Hull City nil, Leeds 1, Birmingham 0, Barnsley 1. Huddersfield beat Sheffield Wednesday by 1-0. Rochdale and Lincoln will have a replay, as will Swansea and Arsenal, after Arsenal managed to recover a draw, and the replay will be played at the Emirates Stadium. Watford beating Sheffield United by 2-1. And finally, Reading beat Wimbledon by 3-1. Brighton eventually came back against Plymouth, and unfortunately the scalp has been promoted there. Derby County 2, Rotherham 1, as Frank Lampard's pretty successful season continues. West Ham 5, Bolton 0, Millwall 2, Walsall 1, Wigan 3, Coventry 1. But what is going wrong at Manchester City? They lost to Carlisle by 1-0. I can't even explain what is going on at Manchester City. They are literally in freefall at the moment. Amazing. Absolutely amazing, considering they won 12 on the bounce, and now they're absolutely falling apart under Pep Guardiola. That's football. You can't explain it. Aston Villa and Stoke City held each other to a 2-2 draw. In the early hours of the January transfer window as it opened, we have 2 signings to report already. One that we knew about for quite some time. We'd reported during the season that Jan Vertonghen was possibly on his way to Juventus from Spurs. That has actually been completed and gone through. Meanwhile, the Alvarez club have completed the signing of former Watford man Jose Holbas. Calgary have signed Winston Reid from West Ham for £7.2 million. A signing for Watford, and it's another player leaving the Bundesliga. This time BSC Hertha have moved on Marvin Plantenhard to the Premier League for £16 million. In a rather surprising twist, Spurs have lost Danny Rose as he signs for Napoli for £12.2 million. That's a strange one. I have to really admit that is a strange one, but considering Spurs lost Jan Vertonghen and beat Norwich by 5-0, something tells me it probably won't matter, but that is still rather unusual. Huge news coming from the Bundesliga as a big player for them actually leaves and goes to Valencia. That's Julian Vigel for £28.5 million. A coup for Valencia there, and that's Dortmund's one of top players. So it's very interesting to see how he will settle in a team from the Liga. But despite West Ham's impressive season so far, a player has left them to join RCD Espanyol in the Liga, I believe it is. Arthur Masuku has left for £7.2 million. Meanwhile, back to the Bundesliga again, as Wolfsburg have sealed Paulo Sabrina for £20.6 million from former club Sevilla. So someone going from the Liga to the Bundesliga, as we reported earlier, Julian Vigel has actually gone the other way. So a lot of deals between Germany and Spain happening right now. I think that happened in the summer window as well. So in more transfer news, and more transfer news coming out of Spurs, and it's their third selling in less than a week. Bayer Leverkusen have signed Kieran Trippier for £19.7 million. Elsewhere, it seems that finally Manchester City have made a signing they may need. It is Sebastian Simimenske from Legia Vonsvora. I'm sorry if I've butchered those names. It is an attacking midfielder, and it could be the signing that hopefully revives the sinking ship that has been Manchester City in recent months. That's what Pep Guardiola will be hoping anyway. Meanwhile, at Chelsea, they have signed Giorgino Chiellini from Juventus, and sticking with Juventus, there's been someone going in the other direction. Tom Davies, formerly of Everton, has signed for Juventus from an £8.6 million bid. Tom Davies obviously is a top player, but for Juventus, it's going to be very difficult to see where he fits in. More transfer news, and two players have left Everton. First, Idrissa Gueye has joined Borussia Dortmund for £20.3 million, and Yannick Bolasie has left them to join Chimeo for £8.1 million, and that's a double whammy for Everton. There seems to be a lot of players leaving one club in this window. It's certainly interesting. Well, in the hugest transfer news story so far in this January window, and it's unbelievable what Manchester City have done here, but Real Madrid have signed Sergio Aguero for nearly £58 million. That is astounding, considering Manchester City's season plummeting and probably in need of goals. Losing Sergio Aguero is probably the last thing Pep Guardiola wanted to do, but he signed for Real Madrid. I am stunned. That is undoubtedly the biggest transfer in many a year, and probably the most bizarre considering Manchester City's situation. This window has just thrown one of the biggest curveballs I think I've ever seen, and that is just Manchester City's season, isn't it? They're free falling, and now Sergio Aguero is signed for Madrid. I mean, wow. Oh my god, no, that isn't who I think it is. Oh my god, Sergio Aguero has gone to Real Madrid. What? Why would City do that? Bizarre. That is bizarre, dude. No, why? They're plummeting. Why would they do that? Oh my god. Why? Why would they do that? Seriously, dude, this game is handing the league to me on a plate. Literally it is. It's handing the league to me on a plate, dude. Seriously, we've got a game in hand over Everton, and they won apparently, so there's that. What? Why? I'm stunned. I don't understand why the game has done